Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Batters Orthopedic Clinic, Parish Construction and Roofing, Unique Physique, and Restored Motions. As always, sponsors are linked in the description on YouTube, tagged on Facebook, so please support them. Welcome in, everybody. Good morning. A lot to get to today. Um, Hard to believe. Final weekend of the regular season of college football. Championship games will be next Saturday, and then we'll know the playoff um, field. But I guess it is about that time that we start learning of players' intentions. And Brian Kelly alluded to a few at his press conference on Monday that I want to jump into. But we'll start with Zach Weeks. So the latest Weeks brother is committed to LSU. So Zach is the youngest. He was a 4-star in the class of 2026. Well, he reclassified to 2025. So he'll be signing with LSU a week from tomorrow. And we'll be able to play in 2025, be on the team in 2025 with his other brothers. So the caveat there, of course, is Witt will be back as a junior. West is planning to return, use the redshirt year to play for another year, which would be great. We talked about that a little bit. So he's been injured. He played in just 3 games. He played Saturday against Vanderbilt, which was his 4th game. So he cannot play against Oklahoma. If he plays against Oklahoma, he loses the year. But he can play in the bowl game, as the NCAA amended that rule where a participation in the bowl game will not affect your eligibility because, remember, so many guys opted out. They were having trouble fielding teams. So it was an opportunity for in most instances, young players to be able to play in a bowl game and not lose a year of eligibility. So, sorry, I just got a text. So there's a couple parts of that. Obviously, very cool to have a third Weeks brother. That means you'd have 3 Weeks brothers on the team at the same time, which is pretty cool. That hasn't happened since 2008 when Curtis, Brandon, and Jiron Taylor were all on the team together. It'll obviously boost your linebacker room. I don't know how much you'd realistically expect an early enrollee freshman linebacker to contribute on the field year one, but cool to have him there. I think it's some more good vibes for LSU after a pretty miserable month. You bounce back, you beat Vanderbilt. Now you get the commitment from Zach Weeks, and then you can also look at it, from the standpoint with the recruiting class of 25 that nobody else has flipped. So there was a real concern about an exodus from the class, and I get you could still lose guys. I'm not saying that door is closed. We won't know until Wednesday, when a week from Wednesday, when guys have the opportunity to actually sign. But Harlan Berry said he's solid. JT Lindsey, the other running back in the class, number 2 running back in the state behind Harlan Berry, shut down his recruitment. He's solid at LSU. So that's good news, right? You're starting to get some good news moving toward a week from Wednesday with that early signing period. So the big fish are still out there. You got to land DJ Pickett. Kyle Phillips, the other 5-star, did not take his visit this past weekend. I think he was supposed to go to Texas, did not take his visit. So that's great news. And we'll wait on DJ Pickett, wait on Jakeem Stewart, and see how those go. But if LSU lands those 2, I think you'd feel really, really good. So, okay, let's say some good mornings here. Please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. Brian Kelly also was asked about Harold Perkins on Monday. Said they're having conversations with him, and he hasn't made up his final mind yet if he's coming back or going. But I'll continue to tell you until I hear something otherwise. It sounds like he's leaning towards coming back, which would be great for 2025. And then Brian Kelly also said that CJ Daniels is leaning towards coming back as well. So Daniels is he had the COVID year, but this is the 4th year beyond COVID. Well, his 2nd season at Liberty, He suffered an injury and played in just 4 games. So he does have the redshirt year. So Daniels does have another year of eligibility, which would be massive if he comes back. So talk about all that at length on today's Locked On LSU if you want to check that out wherever you get podcasts or on YouTube. All right, let's say some good mornings. Please smash the like button. If you would, subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. Christian, good morning. Number one, I think. What do you mean, number one? What's up, Christian? Good morning. Back-to-back Christians. Brian Wynn, good morning. David, good morning. Elijah Steele, good morning. BK Presser was one of my favorite all time. Told everyone everything they needed to hear. What do you mean? What specifically? It was interesting because the Monday press conference did shift from like recapping Vandy talking Oklahoma to the future roster. Like he was asked about recruiting quarterbacks, and he said, we're going to take a quarterback, which of course they should. You should take a quarterback every year. Depending on what happens with Nussmeier, really depends on what type of quarterback you're taking. If Nussmeier comes back, then you're taking a quarterback for depth. If Nussmeier leaves, then you're going to find a starting quarterback at the portal. He acknowledged, I mean, honestly, Elijah, he acknowledged in that press conference a lot of things that I've been telling y'all. And this isn't a back pad. It's just validation that I'm very plugged in with the NIL space. I am. I don't know that it was necessarily intentional. I mean, I do want to know a lot about the team and the program that I cover, but a lot of it also is I just exist in that world of a lot of people around the community, around LSU that that support LSU financially. And some of it's because some of them are sponsors on my show, or I'm friends of, or you do charity events, and I'm around that world a lot. So, and I've developed really good relationships. So yeah, I have a pretty good idea, really good idea of, that's what's kind of what we've been saying. Yeah, they didn't spend last year as much as they should have in the first portal window. Part of it was they thought Mason Smith and Mekhi Wingo would be coming back. Out of necessity, they got aggressive in the second portal window and just didn't come up with the big fish. And as a result, they realized they needed to go spend more and improve their roster immediately. And they're going to do it in this portal window. They've got the money already allocated to do it. Hey, Jacob, good morning. Made a few Bama fans mad yesterday saying they're burning. Well, they are. Michael Sumner, Team Drew. Thank you, Michael. Jesse, good morning. Saints game week. Excited to see what they can do. Yeah, man, coming off the bye. Let's see. Rams could be pretty desperate for a win after getting punked by the Eagles on Sunday Night Football on their home field. Thomas, good morning. Team Gate Day 3. We'll get it. Bubba, good morning. Brian, good morning from Baltimore. See, we got another week's brother. Yep, Bama's burning yesterday. Strong side. Good morning, Uncle Scone. Hope you and the family are doing well. We're doing well. Thanks so much for being there. Let's see. Just imagine Zach Weeks, the best of the brothers. How did his scouting compare to Witt and West? I don't know about. It's hard to say about Zach because not only is he the youngest, but he's also just finishing his junior year in high school. So a lot of times, so he's 6'2", 200 pounds. A lot of times, guys really hit that explosive growth in their senior year, like heading towards college. So he's an early enrollee now at a position where you got to be pretty physical to play it. So I don't know yet. What I can tell you is West was, of the three, he was a 3-star. He was the lowest recruited one. Not that that's bad. I mean, he's a good player, but he went to Virginia and then transferred to LSU and has been a very solid player for LSU. Witt is the one that they knew was going to be great. And it was like, you never want to say you take a guy to get a guy sort of thing, but they needed a linebacker. They got West, and it helped to get Witt too. Witt was the one that they knew was going to be awesome. Ryan, good morning. Nice to hear. It was nice. It was nice to air there, seeing other than Florida State. They're going to be aggressive in the portal. I don't. Yes, and If you're talking about Kelly, talking about being aggressive in the portal, yes. And it's, again, the thing I've been saying pretty consistently here. They're going to spend more than double on the 2025 roster. They will spend more than double the amount they spent on the roster in 2024. Taylor, good morning. Thought CJ was odds availability. Be nice to get him back. Yeah, so just kind of alluded to that. I did too, but I went and checked. There was one season at Liberty where he only played 4 games, so he has the redshirt year. Thomas, weeks times 3. Caleb, nice Bam is burning. Lowell, haven't seen Monat Air Force Base hoodie yet this season. It ain't been cold enough, Lowell. I mean, I think Saturday was pretty chilly, but we wore I wore the home field apparel hoodie over to Whiskey and Wine. But we'll bust it out, Lowell. Rest assured. Official Friday, LSU bounced back stronger than ever. Bet on it. I think they're getting their feet under them. You know, if only we had another week, we'd have a whole month. Hey, Dale. Good morning. Jay Johnson never sleeps. Jay got another commit yesterday for 2026. That's so true. Let's see. Somebody said they aren't the Weeks brothers anymore. They're the Months brothers. Thad, good morning. How are we liking -3 line for the Saints Rams winnable game? So the Rams are a 3-point favorite over the Saints. Look, it's the NFL. I mean, the New England Patriots beat the Cincinnati Bengals this year. So, yes, anything is possible. The Rams are interesting because they battled through some injuries on the offensive side early this year with a lot of guys and scuffled as a result. But I'll tell you 2 things for Sunday. One is the Rams' pass offense is still really good. With Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, who's getting older, but still Matthew Stafford could sling it, and that's a good pass offense. And remember, you traded Marshawn Lattimore, Paulson Adebo's hurt, so you've got Lante Taylor and Kool-Aid McKinstry as your cornerbacks, and that's going to be a big test for them. Number one. Number two, Saquon Barkley just ran for 250 on the Rams. So maybe this is a game where the Saints rushing offense, their wide zone concepts, maybe they fare really well against the Rams this weekend. Kelly Gross, Terrell Walker bowl game. Does it benefit LSU to have Garrett sit out of the bowl game with him returning for a senior year? Let Collins and Hurley get the bowl practices and snaps. I don't think so. I think you're going to play to win that game. And if Garrett's back, he plays in that game. Wendell, Thad, dude, I watched Whiskey and Wine with the kids in the car, high school age. They loved it. Well, Thad, my parents wouldn't let me watch South Park when I was a kid. You're letting your kids watch Whiskey and Wine. Maybe you're just a cooler dad. Do you think Blake runs a 3-4 base with all the Weeks brothers? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to see much of Zach on the field next year. And I don't know anything about him. I don't know other than his recruiting profile, highlights, stuff like that. But you're talking about an early enrollee at linebacker coming into a room that's going to have likely Harold Perkins back, West Weeks, Whit Weeks, Devon Keys, who's playing a bunch right now that they really like. And I think they're going to go into the portal and get a veteran linebacker as well. So probably not going to see a lot of Zach on the field next year. Maybe special teams. Good morning. Heard Stephen A. Smith say Kelly is in a world of trouble. Do you think he just doesn't know the buyout amount? Yes, Brad. I think the tricky part with a lot of national guys is they cover college athletics at a surface level. Just being very candid, they know way more about the NFL than they do about college. It's very hard to cover one college team, let alone 134 college teams, or even just the Power Four, So you're talking about like 60 teams. And the NFL and the NBA and all that stuff. that's just a very surface level opinion without a lot of depth or knowledge, which is why you really shouldn't take into account what national people say about the program you cheer for, because truthfully, you know your program better than the national people do. Like, do you think Stephen A. Smith has any idea who Paul Mabenga is? Or Garrett Dellinger for that matter? Come on. Like, Patrick, morning. Loved your Bama's burning segment. Bama's never beaten Auburn at Brian Dennehy Stadium without Nick as head coach. If Auburn keeps the streak going, how will you top yesterday's Bama's burning? Good question. Hadn't thought about it. Try not to get too ahead of myself there. But if you missed, I kind of went low key subtle, like throughout the show yesterday, throughout AFR. Moose would just start playing O Fortuna. And but no, we're not doing that. Just kind of like downplay. Like, I've matured, I've moved on. Then at 5:00, I pretended to issue an apology to Alabama fans, and then I went all Conor McGregor. Like, I'd like to apologize from the bottom of my heart to absolutely nobody. And then I just went right into O Fortuna and Bama's burning. It was great. Tim, good morning. Chad, good morning. Seth, you had me there for a minute. Thought you were going to do Bama's burning. Tiger Poppy, good morning. Uniform combo for the OU game. What does Nike have for this weekend? I haven't heard of any stupid alternates. So my sincere hope is that LSU is going to be in their traditional gold, white, gold. Ryan Mormat hoping LSU can get Pickett to the finish line with Anning and Phillips shutting down the recruitment. Yeah, man. It's going to be a challenge because you have some of the big time programs just dumping money. So LSU's got to stay on it. Irfan Sayad Gamogan. Let's see. The reason is exactly why it was great to hear everything he said. It's like BK listens to Morning Scone. Credit you, though, Matt, killing it. Rex, good morning. Ryan Stadler, what do you think they stress getting most first in the portal window? Well, so it's a good question, Ryan. I think a lot of it's going to depend on who enters the portal. But I can tell you the way that they've structured it is like, elite portal linebacker, for example, right? Or portal linebacker. Just like, are you looking for a starter or are you looking for a depth piece? It's how they've structured it on the roster for 25 and how they have funds allocated, right? So defensive tackle and safety, absolutely. Those are musts at the top of the list. I think they would like an elite wide receiver, like a game-changing wide receiver if one hits the portal. And then it kind of depends what happens on your offensive line. Like, if Emory Jones returns, which, again, I've told you all for a couple weeks now, Perkins, Emory Jones, Mason Taylor, all considering returning. And if Emory Jones returns, he would likely move into guard because the NFL wants to see him at guard. If you, in theory, you'd have DJ Chester back at center, and hopefully he takes a big step year one or year two. You could have Jones and maybe Paul Mabenga at guard, and then Tyree Adams and Weston Davis at tackle, unless there's like last year, Seth McLaughlin, it was a 4-year starter at center at Alabama who hit the portal, went to Ohio State. You can get a guy that started 30, 40 college games to come in and start at center. Okay. Then I can move DJ Chester to guard, which might suit him better. But yeah, safety, defensive tackle, receiver, offensive line. Lovely, Mr. President, third week's brothers hit the LSU football team. Quentin, what up, Quentin? Good morning from San Antonio. All right, Quentin, hope you're doing well, man. Craig, turn on whiskey and wine for my family. To T-Bob, humping a hog once. My mother was mortified. Yeah, that's about right. David Tolson, which collegiate teams traditionally travel well for bowl games? Does LSU fall in that category of teams that travel well? Sadly, no. I shouldn't say sadly. It doesn't really matter. I think a lot of it has to do with so Big Ten teams that play like in Florida bowl games travel well because they want to get away from the weather. So like Wisconsin, Nebraska, in Michigan, like they will go to Orlando and Jacksonville and Tampa for bowl games because they want to get away from the weather. Mostly, I think it depends on the quality of the game and the opponent at most places. Stephen A is part of the crop of analysts I hate, where it's just see stats, read stats, hot takes, talk about LeBron James and the Dallas Cowboys. What will be the top three positions you go from the portal there? We just talked about that. Craig, you're going to make the cutoff for the new news raffle so me and you can stand in the back and criticize every pick in front of us. Going to make the cut for new news raffle. Craig, you're going to have to send me a link there, man. I'm not sure I'm familiar. All right, Thomas, this is for you.
Parish Construction and Roofing. At Parish, we've got you covered. From the top of your roof, all the way down. Parish Construction and Roofing. Parish Built. Parish Built. Parish Built. From your hometown. ParishBuilt.com.
Right. Parish Construction and Roofing. If you need North Beach, go to Brock. You need a roof, you call Parish. ParishBuilt.com. Of course, Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com, Unique Physique, uniquephysique.com. By the way, I just got this note yesterday about Unique Physique. Unique Physique is now offering 3-month pricing that saves you $100 over those 3 months on both semaglutide and tirzepatide. So you've heard me talk about it. Unique Physique, do the whole thing over telemed. They can ship your medicine anywhere in the country, so you don't have to be in Baton Rouge. Lowest prices and never any contracts. Stop anytime. But check out uniquephysique.com. Again, they've now instituted 3-month pricing where you can pay for 3 months up front and save $100 over that 3 months. Uniquephysique.com. Let's see, where am I? Sorry, trying to find my spot here. There we go. Michael, morning, man. My 2-year-old son was concerned with the flames on the screen yesterday. Bam is burning. Had to grab his fire truck and spray to the screen. Great segment. Charlie, what up, man? Good morning. Thomas, Jeff, what up, my dude? Hope you're doing good, man. Hey, Dad, good morning. Michael Cook, Gary, morning, Uncle Scone. What if Tommy Reese does come? What kind of offense does he bring? That's a little premature. I think you'd probably see similar what Brian Kelly would want. Balance, but in spread concepts. And it's also interesting because he's had both athletic quarterbacks and pocket passers. So let's cross that bridge when we get there. Craig, I got 2 weeks to go purchase a bottle of birthday bourbon from the distillery. Do you think it's worth for me to make a rush trip and end up spending $2,000 once you add in the flight, car, hotel purchase while there? So, Craig, my suggestion would be find someone there who can go buy it for you. I actually have a good friend that, if they let him, I have a good friend that works at Jim Beam, and might be able to pop over and snag it for you if you want. But for me, I mean, I would go. Absolutely. I mean, just I'd use that as an excuse to go do the Bourbon Trail. Sean, good morning. Received my Pearl Jam book. Very good. That's awesome, man. I hope you enjoy it, man. So that was wild. I don't know why we brought that up a couple weeks back, but there's a Pearl Jam book called Five. It's a biography of the band called Five Against One. Really well done. The author was a writer for Rolling Stone, I believe, during the time Pearl Jam was coming up in the early '90s, and um, fantastic book. Really well done. Ryan Stadler totally agrees. Safety talent has to be a must. I think Bo Davis is getting the most out of what he gets at D line. Brian Kelly even said it yesterday. They have a patchwork defensive line. I mean, I think those are the words he used. So that's going to be I'm telling you, safety and defensive tackle are going to be right there at the top of the list. Let's see. It'd be crazy if Bryce Underwood flips back on signing day. Got to let it go, man. Got to let it go. It's not happening. Thad, I don't get picked for anything. You mentioned LSU plan for rev share. So does that mean they've been saving for a while? Which department is taking a pay cut or what? Right. So planning for revenue share means, okay, you're looking at your budget and saying, where are we fat and where can we trim? So that's been a big part of it. Not necessarily just in people and salaries, but in expenses in certain spots. But remember also, you're going to see revenue go up this year because you have the TV contract, the SEC, ESPN, ABC TV contract went into place. So everyone is anticipating that revenue will increase as well. So if expenses stay relatively flat and revenue increases, well, now you can share that increase in revenue with your athletes. But yes, they have had to cut other places. Thad, Matt, are you going to any high school football game on Friday? I'm not. We are taking the day off Friday, by the way. So we've never had off for Black Friday, and I decided this year, just because we've always done something in some way doesn't mean it's the right way to do it. So I decided to give our staff off for Black Friday. We normally would work a Friday before an LSU football game, but Thanksgiving is Thursday. I know everyone sort of scatters to family stuff, and especially for the morning guys, that's really tough for them to be somewhere, on a Thursday, Thanksgiving, and then be on air 7 a.m. So Jimmy and Charles are still doing their show on Black Friday because they do their Friday show from Rufino's, but everybody else will be off on Friday. But anyway, so I'm just going to take the day and watch football all day and relax, and we're going to go buy our tree of Clegs and decorate the house and all that stuff, just have a family day. Thomas, parish hat on today at my VA appointment. Love it, Thomas. Thank you so much, man. Cheers. Leon, lovely. My friends and I do a bit where we come up with ESPN segments like Brian Kelly's been relieved of his duties as LSU head coach. How does this affect Dallas' Super Bowl window? That's pretty good. Let's go pretty quickly here. Smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. Sean, what are fans, both Bama and LSU, not understanding about the Bama burning? You've been explaining it since 2024 BC. Yeah. Daniel, reading on threes, recruiting story on LSU having the best DB class in the country so far should tell you that the negative Nancy's that the sky's not falling. Y'all have a happy Thanksgiving from beautiful Galveston. All right, Daniel. Matt, what's your favorite side dish for Thanksgiving? Oh, man. So we do like a traditional Cajun Thanksgiving. Maybe I shouldn't say Cajun. Maybe I should say more like New Orleans. My Grammy made shrimp merlaton, and when we were kids, we used to call it the green stuff, but we all loved it, and that's always a staple. That's probably what I would go with. My mom does a homemade mac and cheese, which is interesting because she doesn't even eat cheese, but it's fantastic. I mean, we do eggplant bundles and oyster patties and all that sort of. It's amazing. I mean, everything. Like you come to our house, our family's Thanksgiving, you're not going to see the traditional like baked turkey, stuffing, cranberry. Like you're going to see fried turkey, shrimp mirliton, oyster patties, eggplant bundles. You will see mac and cheese. I mean, we on one, y'all. We on it popping at the Moscona / Mumford household. Got it. So you can't have someone else go pick it up. Yeah, go get it, Craig. I mean, Craig, take a Friday off work and like go up there on Friday, hang out Saturday, come home Sunday. That's what I would do. Spend it on Blackberry Crown. Oh, Cortland, Walter Nolan. Hey, Walter Nolan, is Mason Taylor coming back? Don't know, but what I was told is that Perkins, Mason Taylor, Emory Jones are all three considering coming back. I can't sit here and tell you definitively. I think all three will be back. I think if you get one of them back, that's awesome. If you get two, that's a huge win. If you get all three, that feels like you hit the jackpot. You gave them the day off because you don't trust T-Bob to make it in. That's not true. That's not true. T-Bob, I will say this about T-Bob, and I have been to plenty of events on the road with T-Bob, from Vegas this year to SEC Media Days every year. They do Senior Bowl. I will say this about T-Bob. I will never, ever, ever worry about him being there, headset on at 7 a.m. Now, he may come rolling around the corner at 6:59, hungover as all get out, but he will be there. Like, I can't recall a time that he has ever been late. And so I just legitimately, I'm saying this seriously, like, because I have thought about that before. Like, I've never, I mean, there are times like in media days where T-Bob will go out until 3, and crash whenever he does. But there he is, 7 a.m. He might be hurting, but he is there. So I never worry about that. I'm serious. Like, I never worry about T-Bob being there on time for his show. Like, he has never, ever, ever let me down with that. Not like literally not once ever. Boy, it sounds nice. This coming Saturday, just to wear sweat clothes, couch bum, watch the Tigers get a win. God, that'd be so good. Do you watch the FCS playoffs? I can't say that I'll lock into it, Ryan, but when you get to those Saturdays where there isn't major college football and that's on and you're still fiending for a little football, yeah, I'll flip it on. Strong side, big high school football Friday night, Ruston South Side, Neville Chalmette. Okay. Catholic Rummel. Cortland, teams that kill or compete with LSU in revenue are killing LSU in NIL. Cortland, so nobody kills LSU in revenue, to be clear, because the SEC and the Big Ten they just kind of flip flop every time there's a new TV deal with who has the largest payout. And LSU's revenue is I mean, like USA Today always does the revenue issue and all this. I mean, LSU's always in the top 10 in revenue. NIL is a different animal, and it'll be interesting to see how that evolves with revenue share. But I don't know that it's even fair to say someone's killing LSU in that space, because it's not like LSU's broke. They have, especially with bringing TAF on as the fundraiser for Bayou Traditions and allowing people to get TAF points for Bayou Traditions donations, that has engaged the $5,000, $10,000, $100,000 donor. And that has allowed LSU. I mean, I'll tell you, since TAF, I don't mind sharing this with you, since TAF has taken over the fundraising for Bayou Traditions, they have raised $1 million a month each month since Taft took over. So it has dramatically increased the revenue, the fundraising revenue to Value Traditions. There's just some places where you have a deeper roster of billionaires that are willing to spend whatever. And it's not that they're killing LSU. It's just that LSU happens to have been the school that had spent 3 years and earned Bryce Underwood's commitment. Like, that could have just as easily have been Florida. I mean, it could have been Florida recruiting Bryce Underwood for 3 years, getting his commitment and having him all the way up until 2 weeks before signing day when the founder of Oracle comes and dumps $12 million on Bryce Underwood. I mean, that was less an LSU problem and more a Michigan solution. So I don't know if that makes sense, but I would say, like, flip it in your head how you think of it, and don't think of it as, man, I know it stings because it was your guy, but it was also, it's not like the rest of the country is just targeting LSU. It's like, well, you went fishing in their pond, you know. Like, if Bryce Underwood was the number one player in the country, but he was out of Houston instead of out of Belleville, Michigan, is Michigan going to dump that money on Bryce Underwood? No. It was all the optics that surrounded it from Michigan's perspective. You win a championship, you lose your coach, now you're 5-5. And the number one player in the country is 30 minutes from your campus, and he's going to go to Louisiana? That's what got all of those balls in motion. Abner Neal, good morning. Happy Thanksgiving. Austin got a ticket to the game Saturday. First game in Tiger Stadium since Mississippi State 2018. Oh God, that was the Devin White targeting game. Oof. Ryan Jones, morning, Matt. What's the chances of Tulane getting in the playoffs? Ryan, here's what you need to cheer for. Well, obviously you need Tulane to win out. But what you really need is to have the Big 12 continue to just beat each other. Because there's a scenario where Tulane could win out and be ranked higher than because remember, the top 5 highest ranked conference champions are in. That doesn't mean the Power 4 plus a group of 5. That just means the top 5 highest ranked conference champions. So the SEC, ACC, and Big Ten champion are all going to be in the top 3. But the Big 12 champion is going to have at least 2 losses and possibly a third, depending on what happens over the next 2 weeks. So if Tulane wins this week and then beats a 1-loss Army team for the American Athletic Championship, Tulane could climb above the Big 12 champion, because Boise, I think, is going to go undefeated, or not undefeated. They lost to Oregon in week 1, but I think Boise wins the Mountain West Championship. So Boise, in that scenario, would be the 4th highest ranked conference champion, which would put them as the 4th seed. And then Tulane potentially could be the 5th highest ranked conference champion, which would put them in the field. Probably is the 12th seed, but they would be in the field. And that and Notre Dame would be devastating for the SEC teams, because then there wouldn't be enough at-large spots. You'd effectively get, I think, Texas, Georgia, and Tennessee would be the only 3 that get in, which I think is what's going to happen anyway. Which, by the way, someone has told y'all since they announced the 12-team playoff that, well, everyone's like, oh, the SEC is going to get a minimum 4, probably most years 5 or 6. And someone kept telling y'all over and over and over and over and over and over again, 3. Look at the history of the last 10 years. 3 is generally the baseline that you get in. Every now and again, you pop a 4th. T-Bob is the LSU Chris Farley. Philip, morning, Matt. Not sure if you answered it already. Did you see the Bruce Feldman and Ralph Russo article on Brian Kelly? If so, what are your thoughts? I feel it's sort of shady how they did it. I did not see it, Philip. I didn't see it, so I can't comment. For whatever it's worth, one thing I will tell you contextually is that Bruce Feldman was very close with Ed Ogeron. Like, he wrote the book Meat Market, and Ed Ogeron was prominently featured, and they stayed very close. So think about it this way. When Ed Ogeron was the coach at LSU, Bruce Feldman broke nearly every piece of news about LSU. Why? Because he got it from Ed. Bruce Feldman doesn't really talk about LSU anymore. It's fine. People forget T-Bob played O-line. If you aren't disciplined, you don't last long. Plus, his dad is the cannon. Jeff, good morning. Cortland, LSU isn't broke, but LSU spends large amount of their revenue. For comparison, Michigan's revenue was $11 million higher, but expenses were $1 million more. I actually said that if Michigan had offered another top 5 quarterback, $12 million, he would have gone there. They chose to offer Bryce. And they targeted Bryce because he was number 1 quarterback. He was there. Jonathan, absolutely love the latest edition of Bama is Burning. Please never change, Matt. Thank you for everything you do. Barry, good morning. BCN, UNLV is beating Boise in the championship. I'd love to see it. I don't think that's going to happen. They played once already this year, and I would love to see that. I just don't think that's going to happen. Okay, thanks so much for watching, y'all. Please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel. Remember, all of our sponsors, they are linked in the description on YouTube. They're tagged on Facebook. If you need orthopedics, go to Brock. You need a roof, call Parrish. Unique Physique and Restored Motions, semaglutide, tirzepatide. You've heard about the weight loss shots. Everybody knows someone who's taken it. Semaglutide, tirzepatide. Lowest prices, never any contracts. They just instituted 3-month pricing as well, so you could save $100 if you pay for the 3 months. And you can do the whole thing over telemed, and they'll ship your medicine anywhere. So you don't even have to go into the office. You don't have to live in Baton Rouge. UniquePhysique.com and RestoredMotions.com. Okay, y'all have an awesome day. Please go check out Locked on LSU podcast and YouTube. Either one. They're up right now, and then we'll see you for AFR 3.